Welcome to AI for Teams, the show where we explore how AI is transforming the way teams operate, scale, and win. My guest today is Ryan Encinas. Ryan started his career in the operation room at MD Anderson Cancer Center, one of the top cancer research hospitals in the world. He watched what happens when prevention fails. That changed everything. Today, he's the founder of Holistic Hub, using Nobel-Prize-winning physics to measure cellular health in 60 seconds. He's built over 400,000 followers entirely organically, is scaling across 50 countries, and just launched Wellpath 360, a fully automated AI platform that extends patient care beyond the clinic and drives passive revenue for healthcare providers without adding a single staff member. Ryan is one of the most data-driven, systems-obsessed operators I've met, and he's sitting on a healthcare tech ecosystem that AI is about to 10x. Ryan, we met at an event a couple months ago, and I'm just glad to finally have you on.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm curious to dive in to see what this AI stuff's all about.
Yeah. Well, let's get started. I know your origin story, MD Anderson, hospital director, seeing the gap in preventative care. But I wanted to skip to the moment right after that. When did you realize this wasn't just a personal mission, but a scalable business? What was the specific moment where you thought this can be much bigger than me?
That's a great question. And really what it comes down to is family. Is when I saw the struggles of my grandparents and how they made their money, my parents and what their retirement looks like, and then having my own daughter. And I thought about future and generational wealth and how can I really scale and get out of the golden handcuffs of trading time for money, because everyone's looking for passive income, but how do you align that with health? Because that's my passion, is helping people. And that was the turning point when it was like, okay, I can keep trading my time for money. I can climb the corporate ladder in the hospital system, but it's not in alignment. So it didn't feel right, never set right. And that's why I went back to school to pursue a better knowledge base. So it was family. It was having my own family that was the real driver, where realizing no one's coming to save me. I'm the provider.
Yeah, there's something very special about being a father, right? Mm-hmm. Like just the many lessons that you unpack from being from that. You mentioned knowledge base. That's something where, especially with AI, that's like comes up time. It's the skill set of knowing how to build a knowledge base. Yeah. It's very important. How often are you building knowledge bases right now?
I mean, ChatGPT had that cool year in review, right? Like mm-hmm. Spotify, it gives you your whole playlist. Like what did you listen to? All your stats, basically. I was a top 0.5% user of ChatGPT in the world last year. To give you an idea of, now I use it for social media. I use it to feed research, because now switching to a different platform, Chat's not the best at that. It's got a little bit more restrictions in its algorithm than others. So I use it all day, every day, to help refine my message, to plug in research that you can't find on the first page of Google or Yandex or whatever. Because what I'm dealing with is a team of one of the most powerful research engines in nutrition and genetics. Mm-hmm. And their information is not readily available on the internet. It's there, but you have to dig. So we've compiled it. And when I feed these stuff into the AI, I can really pull out information that the rest of the world really hasn't seen yet.
Yeah. Wow. The rest of this is going to be phenomenal. I already know it. What was the first thing you had to stop doing yourself in order to scale what was possible, what you're creating right now?
Man, I'd get out of my own way. Mm-hmm. 100%. Like I said, no one's coming to save you, right? Like, I have mentors, but they're not teaching me everything. At the end of the day, I have to learn where my weak points are. And through education, through systems that are proven, it's like, how do I modify that and make that my own? I think we're all here to create something. Better health for everyone, a better family, better art, better music that has positive lyrics, whatever it is. But you have to get out of your own way to be able to be in that creative energy, that flow of life force that we're all here for. So that's the biggest thing, is I'm not a victim. All my success is built on me. It's not luck, it's consistency. And once I stop blaming anything else and start taking ownership for everything that I'm creating and building, then it's all on you. And that's the beauty of it. It's like anyone who's successful, they have a story where they came from, but they never identify with, oh, I was a victim or this happened to me. They might tell you that those things happen to you.
Doesn't serve you.
No, it's exactly. It's like, this is what I am now because this is what I believe in. This is the only thing that focuses on. And that's actually what the word diet means. It means restrict what does not serve you. Everything that you absorb that makes you breathe easier so that you find your purpose. That's the meaning of diet.
Wow. Wow. And there's so many things to unpack there, but like how are you currently you say you're top 0.5%, like you're in deep into the health space. Like what is your day-to-day look like using AI and your health?
Yeah, scripting social media stuff. So what am I going to post about today? And sometimes planning that out, sometimes, well, this is trending, so I need to talk about it right now. And I have 3 formats that I make social media in, and that's what worked for my channel. Some people, there's a million different ways to do that. Some people, it's just them talking to the screen. Sometimes it's only carousels, whatever. Sometimes only memes. I do all of it, and I've had all of it go viral, but I came up with a system that goes for that nice grid that's only 3 across. So short words on the screen, carousels that you slide through, and a talking piece. And then once or twice a week, I do memes. So I might get the talking piece first, but I need to transition that into short bullet points. Just like a 10-second video with a sick beat behind it and nature background, but it's just hard-hitting statements. Then I'll make the carousel about the same information, but that's graphics that I'm using Claude now or ChatGPT to make those. I don't mess with Canva or anything. It's just all...
It's all made right there.
Yeah, in AI. And then I'll transition that into a script. And of course I have to edit it. It's not perfect, but I'm feeding it the information, and that's where AI is a very useful tool. It can condense your thoughts and allow me to fine tune and pack more information in 90-second, 3-minute video, whatever it is. That's the primary way I use it. And when it's trying to pull me or fight me, because it's very hard to talk about health information, because you're constrained by what you can say legally about natural health stuff that's non-pharmaceutical,
Really?
especially in regards to the disease process. So having to figure out the legal loopholes, what I can say, is also a trick with AI. So how do I outsmart the AI that's trying to limit me? That's another primary way, like feeding it these studies, basically, and educating it, because it's programmed the pharmaceutical way, not the natural health way.
Well, that's why, I mean, we go into this as AI for teams. Like, I don't want it to be fed off of all the other knowledge. I want it on the specific knowledge, because then it's operating off of that knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're entailing there. Like, how often are you updating? Because sometimes you have to take stuff out and put stuff back in. Like, how often would you say you're working within that?
I mean, the social media content is always around health topics, and it'll fight me. So I have to feed it things, or have to feed it a more credible than me source, or show a published study to get it to understand and think like I'm thinking, train it. So, I mean, I would say more days than not every week.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's part of it, right? With AI, you have to slow down so that you can then speed up.
Yeah.
And so that's fascinating. So with carousels, like how did you set that up? I'm actually currently working on a carousel automation myself, so I'm curious on like how'd you set that up?
It's really simple, because if I make that bullet point one first, that's my meat and potatoes, and I'll say, let's transition this into a series of viral carousel. And I'll say no more than 6 or no more than 8. If it's really long, I need to go to 10, but I try to keep it short. And I'll say, use the same opening statement. It's like a hook or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll say, add a little bit more about this, or this, in these slides, and make it in this ratio, and keep the graphics minimal, and ChatGPT took a little bit more prompting. Claude's actually much, much better at it.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, really good at it.
But how are you feeding the research part of it? Like, obviously, I mean, these carousels, you've had them go viral.
Mhm.
And what usually is the next action you have your audience do?
Oh, there's generally a CTA, so
Hmm.
book a call or click this link for this clinically validated product, or watch this business preview.
Or a lead magnet,
Yeah,
right?
they're just
Yeah.
lead magnet
Yeah.
for either for product or business opportunities.
Yeah, and that's that's great. That's how you properly do business during social media. So like that research portion, how have you been able to do all of that with AI? And then that way the
Yeah.
carousel converts.
I mean, thank goodness. Social media is an interesting place. There's trolls, and like was it like 2/3 of the accounts aren't even real? It's
Yeah, I saw that stat. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I see it, especially when I'm talking about sensitive health topics, like vaccines or statins or whatever. Um, Thank goodness the people I work with have collected so much data and research over 20 years that it allows me to go find additional research to plug in to complement that research. So now I'm in the process of hooking up that Google Drive to Claude so it can have a full
Oh,
understanding
yeah.
of even more research that I feed it, because it's all there.
Hmm.
I mean, I have one slide in the presentation where I show all your top diseases, how many published research articles on PubMed are published about oxidative stress and cancer and heart disease and diabetes and Alzheimer's, how many tens of thousands of published studies in each of those just on oxidative stress, tens of thousands on antioxidants, tens of thousands on the specific antioxidant that we measure with our non-invasive tech that's powered by AI. And it's that one slide like really opens people's eyes, because people just aren't aware this technology exists, but even more so, they're not aware of the importance of what we're measuring.
Well, I have a later section where we're gonna going back to specifically what you're doing with social medias, but I cannot wait to dig into that. Uh, so you just launched Wellpath 360, a fully automated platform that lets healthcare providers extend patient care beyond the clinic and generate passive revenue without adding staff. That's a complete different business model from Holistic Hub. What was the problem you kept seeing in healthcare practices that made you build this?
I mean, any health business, they're understaffed. And that's the huge issue, is manpower and education. No one has time. And the person who owns the business, or how they're reimbursed, how they make money, is just to turn and burn. See more patients, do more surgeries, prescribe more, sell more, do more with less staff. So the tricky part was, how do we teach their patients? How do we provide free education? Now the business has to pay for it. It's a marketing tool, right?
Yeah.
But it's wildly inexpensive. I mean, and that's the price, is you have to use AI to lower the cost, reduce the manpower, provide more services, which is what we did. But it was very difficult to do because it took 2 years
Oh,
to
wow.
actually build out an integrative web and an ecosystem of lead magnets that's all interconnected through different health topics, because not every health topic is just going to lead to one product. But furthermore, they're going to want to learn more about lowering cortisol or better sleep or cardiovascular health or renal health or whatever these issues are. The 150 plus health topics that are all tied to education first, and then like sleep. Okay, yeah, you have better sleep hygiene. Well, what is that? That's turning off the lights, all the blue light, getting off your phone an hour before bed, doing something relaxing for your body, not having like blackout curtains or eye shade, things like this, and other things that can help with natural melatonin production, your circadian rhythm, like a saffron extract. And if you want to learn more about a clinically validated source for it, click here. So it's not a hard sell, but if they click on it, we track it, we know what they're looking for, and we'll send them more emails on that topic before. So now they have touch points.
Yeah, touch points.
So
Yeah.
it's a nurturing sequence that's adaptive, but it's also able to be white labeled and change the tone based on the business that we're doing this for. So is it an OBGYN? Is it an orthopedic surgeon? Is it a general practitioner? This extends into health professionals also because it can also go to a gym or med spa or anyone really. So it's adaptive, malleable, and customized. Plus, they can tie in other offers, like if they have infrared saunas or peptides, whatever their business is, we can do that for them as an additional service. So it looks as one seamless system that's done for you. It's just plugging into their existing email. We're not taking ownership of their email or anything like that. But that was it was like 5D chess. It was like the whiteboard with all the lines connecting to everything. Like the Figma page looked insane. Like you'd zoom out and zoom out and zoom out, and it just was a spider web in 5D chess. And my business partner, it hurt his brain. It's the hardest thing he's ever done in his career.
I mean, 2 years.
Yeah. And that's the problem that it solved is most businesses are sending you scheduling and billing, not an educational platform. And if they wanted to an educational platform, they have to outsource and spend tens of thousands of dollars to someone to build it for them. Or like, hey, we'll start you up for $1,000, and then our entry point is about $400 or $500 a month. You know, it's tier based on how many emails you have. If you have 100,000 emails, it's probably going to cost you a little bit more, but that way your patients are getting education. That way when they come in, it's not the first time they're hearing about the services and products that you're offering them that you're going to tell them that they need that are non-pharmaceutical, that are, hey, these are here to help your nutrition, that you're malnourished.
Are you using MailChimp? Or what's your main email platform?
Everything runs through Go High Level.
Go High Level?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Because Go High Level, they're really friendly with AI and implementations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? What's with Go High Level, that specific experience, you utilizing all these AI tools and automations? What's some insights there that
So we have a very unique AI platform that my business partner constructed well before I came into the business with him. And that was very expensive. And he was told by the leading Go High Level experts, even the owner of Go High Level, that what you want to do is not possible. And he said, really? Why? What if you did this and this? He was just a very curious person and pretty smart, resourceful guy. He's not a software engineer, but he would plug things into AI and say, help me do this and Go High Level, and it would write code for him. And so we have a very hyper customized version of Go High Level. And we use it as
your own white label?
Yeah, because everyone does. You buy a corporate account.
Yeah.
So, but it's for our sales team. For the people that take our business serious, well, you need the tools because corporate doesn't have all the resources for health professionals. We've compiled that data and created our own CRM, that has all this information. And then out of that developed Wellpath 360, which was a separate business,
Really?
but it's all in-house,
Wow.
Because you can only scale as great as the system and the tools that you have. Yes, we have to develop other leaders, but you have to be able to teach those leaders a system that is reproducible. So having AI tools that leverage that and be able to create funnels and things like that are just plug and play, and have a tech support that helps people onboard that system, because it's not user friendly. It's just not. It's like handing someone keys to a spaceship and saying, park that thing out back. You'll be like, well, how do I even start it? So we have a done for you like setup, and I mean we're offering that at we're actually losing money on that. It's like $50 a month for our business, right? Doing what we do, but to have your whole Go High Level experience in our business.
Wow. My brain goes in different areas there, but one question I wanted to ask was, or some insight on there. I went on a walk with a friend the other day. He has helped multiple businesses scale and exit the $5 to $50 million range. And he told me this concept of like, when scaling, he wants to have an incubator, exactly know the system that he's going to the inputs that he's going to use under that incubator, because otherwise things are going to break. Would you share the same concept as well? Except
we're never going to exit this business.
Yeah.
Because it's generational wealth. This is Forbes
Well, at
top.
least we're scaling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And this business has been around for 40 years, has a perfect credit rating, which is very rare, especially for a mid-sized company that's publicly traded. I mean, even Apple and has lost its credit rating.
Yeah.
They've gone through hard times. Our company has never. They own all their assets, completely integrated. So we're this adjunct AI platform infused to help our distributors and our sales team for health professionals, because what we're doing has lifelong royalties. So
Wow.
you would never want to exit that business. You can. It is a sellable and willable asset. Like that's the point, is my children will inherit my business that will continue to make money long after I'm gone, and it will always compound through the generations that I'm leaving behind me. Why would I ever want to sell that? Like, because it's, number one, it's aligned with what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's actually putting good in the world and measurably improving people's cellular health through nutrition, and has so many rabbit holes to go into of where this whole AI ecosystem is going. It's like an Amazon Alexa beats the heck out of Google speaker and the Apple HomePod. Why? Because it's attached to a shopping experience. Except we're offering that whole experience around your health. And it's one tool, one system that everyone in the family can use, and it's portable. So you can use it with your friends, but it gets you talking about health. It changes what you're putting into your body. And it's showing you you're actually improving, yes or no. Not just tracking fitness, but your cell function and cell health. So where this will expand into, we'll get into in a little bit, but that's why this is never something to exit. Though when we talk about health professionals, a lot of doctors will build and scale towards the end of their career to sell and make their business more profitable, especially in the last couple of years before they sell it and retire, which they can add this whole system to it and sell it with their practice should they choose.
I think that incentivizes the wrong direction long term, especially coming from the place of heart where you're coming from. You're incentivized, like, this is, I'm not planning to, this is it. And so now you're incentivized more to like do more good for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you don't make as much right at the beginning. But that's the point. Any good business doesn't just skyrocket. There's a lot of foundational steps that go there. That way your skyscraper that you're building is supported, has the proper
Also, not
foundation.
many people are willing to go through that.
No. And that's why the business isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
But certain people see it, and now the price point is so low on our system. It used to be $10,000 to make a device. Now it costs $300 to buy it, and you don't ever need another device.
Wow.
So it's now a low barrier of entry. You can't name another business out there that you could invest under $1,000 and make millions. That has the track record, that's proven, that has all the science to back it up, that has a lot of other people that have already made $500,000 a year, millions, and so on.
How big is your team?
I mean, I'm on a larger team.
Uh-huh.
My team, I have a couple dozen, but the company is international. So our little health experts team, there's a couple dozen people on there that have generated $1 billion in profit annually for quite some time. And now stepping into this space, for perspective, our system, we only had 5,000 devices in the whole world. 3,000 of those were in the US. In the last 3 months, we've put out 30,000 devices globally. So those other teams now jumping on board, but it's going quick.
This was in the past couple months, right?
Past 3 months, 30,000 devices have been placed into the world.
A memory just unlocked. I remember you sharing this with me, how you were working on that. Wow.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So it's a real estate grab.
Yeah.
Because it's a business opportunity. It's the Trojan horse to put nutrition back into healthcare and health professionals. No marketing, no brand deals, just lifetime value of all your customers and business relationships. But it's also a scalable business that's global.
That's amazing. Wow. Yeah, I've just taken that in. That's amazing. Well, let me get back into most healthcare providers are still sending generic emails, blast, or relying on front desk staff to follow up with patients. Wellpath 360 automates that entire journey. So what does the AI personalization look like? Is it truly adaptive to each patient, or is it more a smart sequence?
It's more like smart sequence, like tracking their clicks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are they interested in? What health information do they want to learn more about? And it's providing that information to the provider or health professional. So when they come back into their location, their brick and mortar business, they have a record of what are they interested in? What are they clicking on? You know, you want to know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just asking them again, you can say like, it's up to them. Like every business has a different strategy and we help strategize with them for their workflow that works for them. Every business is a little bit different. And that's fine. We've seen a lot of different strategies work and help implement this across a wide variety of scale. So it's empowering the provider, giving them that data, and also taking the burden off their staff. So all they have to do is point them in the direction to, yeah, here, you needed more help with this topic. This is going to be the product for you to go with that. And here's some talking points on that product.
Mm. Yeah. That's really nice on their end too. Yeah.
Because they don't have time. They're like, I don't have time for this. This is,
Yeah.
another new business. This is something else I got to learn. And I was like, and to be fair, some practices go deep into the science.
Uh-huh.
Some don't. Some are more turn and burn, and we have to serve both and meet people at their pain point. So some people have more time in their business to sit down an hour with their patient. Other people get 10 to 15 minutes or less.
How do you deal with that? Like,
Well, our measurement's only 15 seconds.
oh yeah.
So it fits in. They're already taking vital signs, or you step into the gym, you're stepping on a scale, they're there. Same thing. Here's a physics-based, non-invasive scale of your nutrition and your cells. And then by the time the front desk staff measures it, or if it's a solo practitioner, the person can come in and scan themselves and the practitioner can instantly see the results.
What do you say for the people that are skeptical about that?
A lot of things were skeptical. We had our doubts, right, about a lot of technology. The pulse oximeters, the little red light we put on our finger, it's the first thing you do when you get to the hospital. It's the first thing you do when going to the sleep for surgery. It's the first thing you do when they come out of the surgical room and get to the recovery room. We want to say, oh, let's check them first thing. Your ABCs, your airway, are they oxygenated? That same technology is how our device works. That won the Nobel Prize in 1930. Everyone questioned it then. It's physics. C.V. Raman was an Indian physicist and found out the right wavelength of light can tune in to measure certain molecules, all molecules. It's physics. Everything is a wave in our reality. Everything's made of atoms. So oxygen has a certain frequency. That's how that little red light works. It's the correct wavelength of light reflecting off of its electrons. And that lets us know how much oxygen is in your body in real time. It is the exact same technology, and our company didn't make it. We acquired the patent to it because it was sitting on this shelf. It was developed for disease risk assessment. The Department of Astronomy and the Department of Biomedical Optics got together and said, can we do cool stuff with Raman spectroscopy? I'm like, I think so. I don't know. Let's try it. This same technology is in the Hubble telescope. It's used in biomedical research and manufacturing because you can measure things down to the atom. That's the technology that's sitting on that desk and that little hockey puck right there. Wow. And there's over 120 published studies on that technology measuring nutrition inside the cells and the impact of what that measurement means. Is it a lie detector on your diet and lifestyle? Are you under a lot of stress because you're malnourished, poor sleep, too many toxins, too much processed food? Or are you actually getting your cells what they need? Period. The end. There's no arguing the data. When you step on a scale, that's your weight.
That's your day. Yeah.
When you put your finger on that device, that's your nutritional score. Period. The end. No arguing. There's no parameters that can be controlled. Yeah, it's a 2-month measurement too. So it's not just what you had today.
Wow. That little device is truth.
Yes. That's how I like to position it too. Thank you for saying truth because it's a positive. A lot of people say it's a lie detector.
No.
And I like to say it's the truth of what's going on, and you can change that. And you can return your body to its natural harmony, homeostasis, alignment, all the same thing. And you do that through nourishment.
It's just like business, right? Like you can't know where you want to take your business if you don't know your metrics, if you don't know your numbers.
Yeah.
Exact same thing with our temple. Like we need to be able to see exactly how we're treating it, like in all areas, so that we can know the truth and we can improve upon it.
I mean, we're so disconnected from nature, people don't know how they really feel. And modern medicine and healthcare tells you to normalize things like IBS or painful periods or infertility. But all those things are metabolic in nature, meaning they stem from deficiencies and toxin overload, and often both. But we don't measure those things in healthcare. Now we do.
Amazing. Well, moving on to the Go Science Foundation, you have 21 million scans in your database and 80 plus peer-reviewed studies backing your technology.
120 now and over 30 million scans now.
Wow. Okay.
Single largest nutritional database in the world. Think about like one study. So the next largest size study that you can Google and look up is 500,000 people. 30 million blows that out of the water.
And most health and wellness companies are built on testimonials and before and after photos. You're built on data. So how does that change the way you sell, scale, and defend your business against competitors?
Yeah. To your point, it's very hard in the supplement space because it's so confusing because of marketing and ad spend. A lot of people don't understand that most of your supplement companies are actually owned by Big Pharma. And they spend more money on advertising than anyone. 80% of pharma profits are spent on advertising. No one can market more than pharma can, including for their bogus supplements. It's very different when you have clinical studies on your product and have a large scientific staff of 80 scientists who have been working together for decades. Most of these supplement companies, they hire a scientist and loan them out to help formulate. But it's just one scientist, not a whole team, and not publishing the research. So that's a big determining factor. Most people in marketing, they quote science. They don't perform science. They quote someone else's science and don't show and demonstrate clinical studies on their own
Show
product.
and tell.
Correct. Come to our labs. So that's the rebrand that we're going through and having to negotiate with corporate to say, hey, this message needs to be on the website. It used to be decades ago, and they've gotten sued before because they're completely vertically integrated, the largest nutritional research startup in the history of the world, $40 million in 1993. I don't even know what that would be worth today. But that was for lab equipment. And they did put competitors through the lab and test them to say, what's actually in this? Because reading a label doesn't tell you anything in this market. It tells you nothing. And that warning...
Some labels leave stuff out, right?
Almost all of them do.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a 99% fraudulent industry. And the simple economic fact, if all these products worked, then no one would be sick. Because all metabolic issues, by definition, is a lack of nutrition and toxin overload. So if you have enough nutrition in your body, you can handle the stress of toxins. You can handle the stress of a poor night's sleep. You can handle the stress of being a new parent and having the chaos of a little one disrupting your sleep and running around and being tired all the time. You have more reserve. You have more savings in your account to handle these hits that take nutrients to burn through.
And all this data, right? Again, truth. And you have your competitors, how are you positioning yourself specifically right now in your marketing?
Yeah, as a turnkey system to measure and correct deficiencies with targeted protocols that all have clinical efficacy.
And what's the methodology behind that specific marketing angle?
Because no one else can measure nutrition in the cell. We can. And it's non-invasive. It is just as accurate and more accurate than blood tests. That's the selling point, is you don't need to have all these expensive lab tests. We're not saying don't do the lab tests. We're saying this lab marker, everyone should know. Think about a fitness tracker. Everyone has a heart rate or a sleep tracker.
Yeah.
And no one's measuring the nutrition. If you're not eating well, then your sleep's not going to be well. You're not going to produce those hormones. It all snowballs. So let's go as far upstream as we can. And when you really dive into the science, it's more than that. It's also how every cell in your body actually works. It's the cell membrane potential, the lipid peroxidation. All that means is every cell in your body, you're made of like 60 trillion plus cells. Everything has to get in and out of the cell membrane. So this is a direct measurement of that function and how much protection every cell has from oxidative stress, free radicals, inflammation. Those are all the same thing.
And um, this is going to be distributed more across ideally you want it to be in homes, right? Across all homes.
We want to scale the business.
Mm-hmm.
So health professionals have a lot of clientele.
Right.
They have a lot of business. But how do they continue to generate revenue once their patient or their customer leaves their business? So they can use the device to help correct these deficiencies and use some of our targeted protocols that do amazing things, from anti-aging to gut health, all kinds of stuff. But then once that patient is good, well, sell them a device. Let them take it home and measure the rest of their family and their friends and create more revenue for that business that sold them the device. That's how it continues to make money outside of their brick and mortar. Or you have virtual practitioners. That's all the rage, right? Since lockdown, everyone's gone virtual.
Yeah.
So you can sell a client this device, teach them how to use it. It's not complicated. You put your finger on it, make sure it's clean, and now that person, it's a great party trick. So they're going to measure the rest of their family, their friends, that's also going to recommend products for them and help them have more of a conversation. Hey, look, oh man, look, Jose's not doing so well. Or like, dang, Susie, what are you doing? You're on fire. Like, yeah, I eat lots of colorful fruits and vegetables in my diet. This can grow and scale faster and larger than the industry has ever seen.
Wow. And how are you using AI right now to analyze like all this data at scale? Like, are you starting to see patterns across like all of those millions of scans that you couldn't see before?
Yeah, this new device, it uses a spectral ray technology, which is an acronym. Raman spectroscopy is the original device. It's how the pulse ox works, right? But it's RAI, Ray, Raman AI. So that little device right there already has the mechanisms in it to measure other things. So the AI and machine learning are literally learning how to take other measurements, measure other nutrient biomarkers. So there'll be firmware updates pushed in the near future once they become clinically validated with our relationships. Like right now, this device is sitting at Duke. We have a study that's already been done. It's just going through all legal before we can publish it. We have ones out of China, out of like some of the most well-respected scientific research entities, South Korea, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
We have relationships with all of these research institutions. We're not just a supplement company, we're a research institution. And no other research institution bats an eye because they know the lab equipment we have. They know the studies we have. That we run a study and publish it, they're like, oh, let me see that study. And so they're happy to look at what we do. So one device that can adapt and grow and learn and have updates, just like the Tesla didn't drive itself at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it does. Just like your iPhone has things that we didn't think it was going to have the capability to do. But through AI, they figured out they could learn and add more features into it. Same thing. So that little device is actively learning how to take additional measurements. And also, because in the world of AI and everyone's building out their own software platforms left and right, you have to have API integrations. So we're in negotiations with Oura Ring and Whoopstrap to natively bring in their data into our platform, but also to have our metrics plug into other platforms in the future. Not there yet. This thing just launched, but that's where this is going. And then...
What do you envision there?
Well, hyper-personalized nutrition. That's what it already is. It's telling you you're deficient, so let's correct the deficiency. But no other company has the data points. We also own a genetics company that's mapped out 300 million genes. We're cross-referencing all that with these nutrient biomarkers. Now, we'll be implementing a microbiome testing kit and a genetic testing kit. So when people envision hyper-personalized nutrition, wellness, prevention. That's what this system is. And no other company has the database to do it in the world except for us.
Have you already experienced some testimonies from this product? Like,
Tons. And that's the hard thing is we're not like these small companies where doctors aren't out there looking for testimonies from their clients. So our testimonies are from the providers. We have a page full of testimonies from the doctors on our website, and all different types of doctors that are telling you what they've seen in a clinical setting. And they know, like, let the provider speak. In private, on a webinar or in conversations, we can say things more freely. But because of the legal restrictions of how we can talk about nutrition in regard to sickness and disease, we can't say the big C word. We can't say cure. No one can say cure unless you're using a pharmaceutical drug or a surgery.
mm,
We can say improve, lower risk, studies show, but you can't say cure
uh,
or
to
treat or prevent.
to my knowledge, I mean, they've banned people from using that word here, and even I think I know someone who was put in prison for it. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's a by design to keep the health system going, even though everyone knows nutrition's foundational, but they haven't had an easy, simple way. That's why you won't find a lot of this research on the company website because they have to be careful.
wow.
So we have all the research we can share because I can talk about the clinical efficacy, the published research on the ingredients of a product. I can just never name the product. That's the legal loophole. So I can teach a provider or health professional how to use this. They can say whatever they want, but they have to abide by those same regulatory guidelines, even though the political climate is changing very fast. And I'm not political. It's all a puppet show in my eyes. But for the first time in 100 years, in 100 years, nutrition is being put back into the healthcare system. And every licensed healthcare professional has to take continuing education credit courses to maintain their professional license to keep their job. Now we have CE courses for dietitians, for licensed dietitians on our device. I'm also developing the continuing education courses for nurses. Another team member is developing it for doctors. Supplement companies that we're competing against, there is no competition because they don't have continuing education devices that measure nutrition.
You also just are putting a lot of experts, you yourself an expert, many of the others are expert, and I imagine you're utilizing AI to really ramp this up and create this vision faster.
Yeah.
Cool.
The scientists are actually putting out more informational short form, and all of the systematic firmware and software updates in the device will be educational platform too.
hmm
Not only for the health professionals that don't have nutritional degrees like I do, but also for the consumer, for the patients, for the customers, so they can learn in language that's easy to understand. Big science is amazing, it's great, but how do you make it easily digestible so the average person can understand?
Have you played around with any AI agents?
Not yet. That's
That
that's that's
that would
on the
be
docket.
that would be the next unlock.
The AI in the device, yes, that they're working with Full Power AI,
Uh-huh.
which is attached to MIT, right?
Yeah.
It's big powerhouse,
Yeah,
right?
it's a big one. Yeah.
So that's been the past 4 years was like a $500 million investment, primarily in the AI platform.
Uh-huh.
So all those things are built in place to have an AI agent to help customize. It just has to roll out incrementally as you unlock one new feature. We got to test
Yeah.
and get feedback and tweak it, and then they can roll out the next
It's the
phase.
same thing as an employee.
Yeah.
Like it's you you can't expect automatic results like, oh, it's I think I was watching a video about this like you hire an employee and they do something wrong. Like, oh, they didn't get it. Let's to tell them again and again. Let's
Mhm.
set like it's the exact same thing there. Like you have to set
Yep.
that up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so now that's in a sales process, but an education process and helping someone attain their goals, like having an AI personal trainer. That'll be in there too.
That's gonna revolutionize the industry.
Yeah. That's the point. It's an industry that's ripe for disruption. Same thing that happened with Amazon, that happened with Netflix, that happened with Uber. All of those fragmented mass confusion in a space. Who's the best? Who's the top dog? Who can prove it?
Wow. Going back into the content, you've built over 400,000 followers without spending a dollar on ads.
Mhm.
In a space as regulated and skeptical as health and wellness, what is the one content principle, not tactic, but principle that changed everything for you?
It's a great question. I think if I really sat with myself, it would be authenticity, but that alone's not enough. You have to be consistent. So I think I would change my answer to discipline, because discipline means self-love. And self-love, love is not always nice and easy. If you're in a loving relationship, that's going to be the most challenging thing and most rewarding thing in your life. Like, I'm doing this for my family because I love my family. I love my wife. I love my daughter. I love my in-laws. I love my parents. That means you have to have difficult conversations.
Yeah.
When my wife comes to me and says, "Hey, I've seen you've been struggling with this for a while. This is a pattern I'm recognizing." Instead of me pushing back, I have to accept what she's saying as a reality. And that is my opportunity in that difficult conversation to grow. So discipline is the opportunity to grow. And with every growth opportunity, it's difficult. They are forever intertwined. You cannot have one without the other. Or you have the opportunity over and over again because you didn't learn your lessons or you chose not to grow. That's on you. So discipline is self-love, and self-love is not always easy. So you have to be okay with not being comfortable, knowing that good science, good business, good spirituality, good parenting is all about meeting someone's pain with compassion. And that's how growth is. You got to be compassionate with yourself above all else. I am not a victim. I am not a perfectionist. I have to get out of my own way to keep taking that action. And that's what discipline is. And that discipline also is that self-love. That's where the authenticity comes through. Because if you're just out there trying to sell something to make money, that's fine too. It's a spectrum of helping people and making money because we all have to keep a roof over our head in this world. But how do you do that with authenticity, discipline, self-love? Do you love what you do? That's the thing. So I would say discipline is the biggest factor in whatever you're trying to create.
Yeah. I was just reading Proverbs 5. I have a Bible study I host, and there was a verse specifically there where I did not listen to instruction or to my mentors or along those lines. I did not follow discipline, and it's a huge warning
Mhm.
from God to just get disciplined. Like that is the biggest principle that you can do with whatever you decide to do. Just be disciplined.
Yeah. Almost like nothing comes easy. And a lot of people say, "Oh, I haven't found my person. It's hard to find my person." It's like it is. If it was easy, then everyone would do it.
Yeah.
But if you get out of your own way, like what really matters? Do they care about you? Do they show up? Are you attracted to them? But you're attracted to their character, right? Their looks fade.
Luke, yeah.
But I get it. You need to be attracted to the person. You're drawn to them. But that's the point is you have to embody that type of growth mindset and be the type of partner. That partner is not going to make you a great person. You're going to attract the right person. And then because you're both committed to growth with compassion, then you're going to have synergy and balance each other out and really help each other grow.
Yeah. I'll take a real. What's the camera battery at?
You're so good.
Still good? Okay. Just want to make sure. Just cut that out and continue back. Um, so Ryan, you're already doing something that most businesses haven't figured out yet. You're using physics-based data to measure what's actually happening inside the cell,
Hmm.
not what the patient thinks is happening. The scanner doesn't lie, it is truth.
Right.
So Wellpath 360 does the same thing for the patient journey. It tracks what's actually happening in the engagement funnel, not what the provider hopes is happening. So that's exactly what AI does for business operations. It measures what's actually happening inside your team and your systems, not what the founder thinks is happening. So if you can use AI the way you can use the biophonic scanner to get a real-time health score for your business, what would you want it to measure first? What's the metric that most founders are ignoring that's quietly killing their growth?
Wow, that's a great question, and it just really unlocked something for me. And by the way, I loved your analogy. I'm going to use that. That was really good. Um, and I think it would be to analyze my weak points in the business because everyone has weak points. And it's like, where can I become stronger? And as like a former semi-pro athlete, I would train my weak points. I would focus on them until they weren't a weak point anymore. And it's no different. Where am I missing the mark? Can I analyze my team, their sales, their growth, and say, what's the missing marker? Well, a lot of times people get into this business because they're attracted to the opportunity to help people with their health. But it doesn't mean they're always the best at sales, myself included. So for me, it's the follow-up. That's the hardest thing to teach someone new. I'm really good at stirring up big business and getting people excited and having big conversations that happen. Big conversations take time, but everyone's got a different skill set, but everyone could be better at following up. Like when you have a call, you should always schedule the next call. And when I ask my team, that's one of the biggest missing factors. It's word tracking and everything, but I would use AI to analyze how many follow-up calls did you have? How long did it take you to get them to move to the next step in the business? There's multiple steps, like that Wellpath 360. Just in onboarding someone, there's 170 steps that are the customer doesn't ever see when you map it out.
Wow.
That's a lot, and the sales process is really the same. If you mapped out every single if-then opportunity that had to go for that sales to move forward, there's a lot of missed opportunity and things that you could say, here's our sales structure plan. Every time you get off the call, before you get off the call, have your next appointment scheduled. That would drastically increase everyone's productivity.
And how could you utilize AI to do that? You
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where my head at. You just gave me a really good idea. So I'm going to plug that into my sales numbers and look, and I can screenshot my metrics because it's tracked live, right? So now I can just plug that in and say, who's trending in my organization. I don't even have to go through it line by line. I can just literally screenshot a couple pages, throw it in there and say, who's close to the next mark, who's falling behind, and give me a plan of action of who's the top priority to call, who's the failure to start, all those things. So you're always going to have a range of performances.
I'll share another insight on there. Um, with your team, you're all getting on a bunch of calls that are being transcribed, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys doing with those transcripts?
Yeah, most people aren't doing enough with them. That's for sure. Most
But
people.
those are real conversations.
Yeah.
Those are prospects.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that can easily be analyzed and track responses and where the opportunity steered off course. Yeah.
Um, what I like to share is what we're doing at AI for Teams is specifically we're taking those transcripts, and not only can you how automatically set it up, like if you have a sales process, exactly where did I drop off, where to improve. And so normally before you would have to go back and go in and like review it, have a sales manager review it, it just causes a lot of discrepancy.
Yeah.
You could automate that process with those forensics, actually have your sales reps look at where they need to improve and where they dropped off. And the sales managers look exactly what they need to train on based on everything that they're seeing. Like fully automating that process.
Yeah.
But then to add to that, these are real conversations with prospects that like whether they came in through marketing or whatnot, like those are personas. Those are data points that with let's say you have years of transcripts, you could then put those into buckets and utilize that for your marketing.
Yeah.
Have you guys?
No, of course not. We're building so fast in every direction. There's a laundry list of things to do.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, it's a brilliant idea, and I think now how fast AI is changing, that's going to be really easy to create a system to do that.
Yeah. And it's just gonna the great thing about it, right? It's like what is exactly that you're working on, right? This product is life changing. Like it is changing people's health. Like what more passion to have behind than something like this, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, they're passionate about keeping their roof over their head, and there's no judgment because there's a lot of different businesses that can be done better and more efficiently, and there's no reason not to apply AI to its fullest extent to help, um, my business, any business in the health space.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what you're working on. And the bio I don't know why I struggle to say it. The biophotonic scanner is currently, or is it $100,000 device or now it's 20?
No, it's called Prism now. So that little hockey puck
Mhm.
is Prism.
Prism, got it.
Yeah.
It was $100,000?
Um, it to manufacture every single device alone was about 10K.
10K.
Yeah, just to manufacture the device. And there was maintenance and a lease, and you actually had to bill for every time you measured someone. Now you do not. Now it's one device, and you can measure as many people as you want or need.
How did you go about making that change?
I mean, that wasn't me, that was corporate.
Uh-huh.
So I'm, a distributor, but that was part of their investment is this technology's been out for over 20 years. And so the first one was the size of a suitcase. It was kind of like the pursuit of happiness.
Uh-huh.
And the first guys were out there lugging around a big suitcase and taking an hour to calibrate it and set it up. It took 3 minutes to measure you. No one wanted to talk to you about nutrition, especially with something that bulky and big. That's why I say pursuit of happiness. It was like the DEXA scan. Everyone did that with the DEXA scan. It was, a very important metric. And because it's the truth of what's going on with your body mass composition, your bone density, your muscle, your lean muscle, your fat percentage. So that whittled down into the size of a tackle box, and then it was the size of a fanny pack, but that was still not a scalable product. And they took that to the top of Mount Everest. They put it with Sherpas and wanted to measure the oxidative stress that they put their bodies under climbing Mount Everest. That was a huge study that was published.
Wow.
And now we have something that's so small and so portable. There's going to be so many more studies coming out because of the accessibility and the ease. Like now we can get this into other countries easier. Before it was very difficult.
How many countries are you currently scaling in?
About 50.
50.
Yeah. So that's just rolling out like right now.
Yeah.
Like UK will be later this month, Australia, India coming up, which is crazy, China, South Korea, most of Europe, couple Central American countries, Mexico, Colombia.
What does it take to distribute to all those?
Nothing.
Nothing?
It's free. You can be an affiliate for free. We'll do all the training for you, and the universe is not short on abundance. So what are your goals? And I can show you what it takes to get there.
Huh.
And then it's up to you about how fast you want to go, because all sales is a numbers game.
Yeah.
Any business is a numbers game. To collect that data, you have to have a lot of touch points, and you go for no. The more no's you hear means the more yeses you hear.
Wow.
So the
And
secret sauce for us, we say talk to 3 to 5 people a day, whether that's going to be a customer or a potential lead for a business partner.
is there any specific bottleneck that's currently pushing back scaling right now?
Developing other leaders.
Hmm.
That's the part, is like, as good as I am, I'm just me. I have to find other leaders and help develop them, give them the skill sets they need, or help develop the skill sets they have that are different than mine, so that we complement each other. Because ours is a win-win scenario. It's like there's royalties like a franchise for every one that I sell, for every business partner, and it's lifelong. That's what makes it a fair business model where no one gets special treatment. So I have some connections that have people on my team that have way more connections in the health world than I ever could dream of. So helping me be their closer and capitalize on them, I get a small percentage, but they actually make more than me. And that's how business should be done. You should be paid on the work that you do. And that's for everybody. So some of these guys that are on making big moves and working with franchises now, making that happen, they're going to make a killing. I'm still going to make really good money off of that. They're going to make infinitely more. Like it's like on a percentage game, my 5% compared to their like 30.
Yeah.
But it's life-changing regardless when you're talking about large health channels.
No, yeah, exactly. And they're incentivized, like
Yeah.
majorly.
I'm incentivized.
Yeah.
I'm incentivized to help them succeed. And that's how real business should be. You shouldn't just be paid hourly. Like you should be built on your success. That's how you get out of the rat race.
Where did you learn that?
That's Robert Kiyosaki. That's the cash flow quadrant. Are you an employee? Are you self-employed? Are you a business owner? Or are you an investor? They're all 4 very different people. And they look at money and they look at business very differently. The employee has a life outside of work. They're there to collect a paycheck. And, a business owner, they're still trapped by their business because they can only scale as much as their business does. Then you have someone who is able to scale and develop other leaders in their business so they can franchise. Then they're having more passive revenue finally come in. And then when you're an investor, you have enough that you can actually invest in AI and invest in marketing, invest in better systems to help your system grow and scale even more, or diversify your income.
What's the system you're working on to build more leaders?
That's the conversation. That's the human aspect that I don't think you can really take AI out of.
Mm-hmm.
It's a numbers game, so you can use AI to help generate leads and things like that. But at the end of the day, people don't follow anyone because of the opportunity. They follow them because the human component. They follow them because they're a good leader. They follow them because they share the vision, because they say that person will support me and I like what they say and how they're saying it. I like them as a person, as a human. AI will never replace that.
That's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, right?
No one's coming to save you.
Right?
No one's coming to save you. And that's the point, is you got to be comfortable being in the hot seat. And all business ebbs and flows. Like I had 300% growth in November, in December, in January, and then it fell back down a bit. But that's normal. I'm still up considerably from where I was before then. And it's like taking that in stride. Well, where did I miss the mark? What could I have done better? And how to still move forward and not be paralyzed by that. And we have leadership development in our company. We go through some of the most proven leadership systems, books, and reading groups about it. That human interaction of, okay, let's commit to reading 5 pages or 5 minutes every day on, some well-respected, internationally successful leadership books. And then tell me, what did you learn? How does it apply to our business? And what are you going to do about it? Answer 3 questions about your 5 minutes of reading or the 5 pages that you read. Have that accountability, that human interaction, because that's what you need. You have to develop relationships to build leaders. You can't automate everything. You can have systems that help you, but I still have to show up for people and let them know that I'm a human and not a robot, and
Human to human.
yeah, and relate to them that they're trying to provide a business, or they want to start a family, or that they're going through a hard time with family, because that's going to happen. In the end of the day, in business, no one cares. The world doesn't care. The world doesn't care that I have a 1-year-old daughter at home that needs my attention, but I still have to show up. So I have to learn how to switch gears and step out of a meeting and immediately turn into dad play mode, even if I only got 15, 20 minutes before my next call. I got to show up for her.
How has this helped working on everything you've worked on, just with your life? How has this helped you with you and your personal life and your health?
Because I'm working for myself, I don't have to leave the house to do what I do. I get to network and stuff, but a lot of the things are done virtually on Zoom meetings. So I get to work out in the morning. I get to watch the sunrise. I get to get up before everyone. And
Notice the word get.
yeah. And I get to play with my daughter in between calls on my back deck. And it's a family business. Like, we have to bring the family unit back into reality. And every other culture in the world is great about that, except for the US. Push your kid out, put them in a crib, separate them. It sets them up for failure, emotional stress, how well they can cope, all those things. But my wife's my business partner.
Really?
My daughter, my little 1-year-old's my business partner. I use her in content. She's a paid employee for a tax write-off because she's marketing. And it works. People love to see that this.
I'm loving everything about that, like just how you're able to work in your business, also focus on your health, and able to also just be there for your family. Like, I don't think that's talked about enough.
It's my why. Remember at the beginning of this conversation, my why is my family, because I don't want someone else educating my child. I don't want to not see my wife and have her support. There's synergy. Sometimes I love cooking. Sometimes she cooks, sometimes I cook. All of a sudden I have a day or two where I don't have as many calls. Guess what? Let's go outside. Let's go to the park. Let me cook a little bit more fancy meal. Let me indulge and live life. And it's spring here, right? The real new year. And now it's time to go to Barton Springs and things like that. And that's my why, because I have the opportunity to work for myself, work from home, be remote, but still network in person. That's always better than anything.
Human to human.
Right. But it's like everyone needs to worship the family unit and get back to that instead of trying to separate us. And my wife went on maternity leave. She never went back to the hospital. I didn't want her to. Didn't want her to work those long shifts. And we're breastfeeding. She got to stay home for months. She got to do 2 weeks bed rest, which is what most other cultures do, because your body needs to repair and rest. And thankful we're in the position to do that, but we scraped by to do that. And we did that happily because we knew that we were on the right path. We had faith. We had faith, and we were enlightened enough that we knew we didn't know everything. So we had faith that we were doing the right thing. And the universe, God, gives you these glimmers. He's like, yes, keep going. Don't lose faith, because you're always going to bump up against something hard. That's what that discipline is. And life and the universe and God gives you lessons that are part of this. And you can't plan how this business will grow. No one can plan it. You pivot. You're always going to have to pivot. And that's part of the process.
Just need the direction and the how. No one ever has the how. No one ever.
And trust me, we talk to these guys that run these major corporations and franchises. They're trying to figure out on the fly too.
Exactly.
No one really has like this is what it is.
So I mean, like right now, it's just like I'm just thinking like all it really is just focus, find a direction, find your vision, and just have that faith, have that true self belief and conviction of just like it's going to work out, and like you are putting your all into this, and that's exactly the path that you're putting yourself across.
That's what diet means.
Yeah.
Diet starts with your belief system.
You know, my roommate, he's a speed reading and memory coach. David reads fast, and he talked to someone about metabolic. He wrote a book on metabolism, and he was telling me the concept of belief, how it can change your health. It even can like. Talk to me about that.
Our whole world is very backwards. You know, AI is a powerful tool, but it's sealing up all of our water, which is a major, major issue. The 2008 housing crash, Michael Burry famously predicted that because he looked at the financials and saw this was a bad investment, it's going to flip, and he made his millions, and everyone thought he was crazy for a very long time. He said the next thing that everyone is going to be a scarcity is water. And so all of our large hedge funds, the corporations that really run and own everything, are buying up all of our water. Why do I say that? Well, because water is life. Yes, we need nutrients. You can go a little while without nutrients. You can't go quite as long without water. So having that faith is like having your nourishment. It's like hydration for your soul. And without that faith, well, then you're crippling yourself. We know that consciousness lives outside of our body. But this body is a humble vessel of this world. It interacts with the ecosystem, with the plants, the animals, the air, water, and light. So everything that is programming or conditioned, marketing, enough people believe in something that they create it. That's what political divide is. So you're looking at each wing of the same bird. It's a system that's literally called politics. Politics, many bloodsuckers. You know, it's all division. They don't want us to be unified.
Wow.
Because when we're unified, we understand that love is creation energy. That nourishment I'm speaking of, whether it's sunlight, whether it's water or the air we breathe, or all these plants and animals and things that we eat and nourish, they are God's love. They're part of this vessel, this container for our consciousness. And our consciousness is a piece of the universe in God, which is love, creation. We have the opportunity to experience life through our own unique lens before we leave this body and return home. So what that is, that creation energy, is the need for love, not in fear. Because we are very powerful. All of us are so powerful.
Yeah.
And the politics, they don't want you to know how powerful you are. So when you divide people and make them think that they are lacking, when they focus on fear, that you're not enough, that's why most entrepreneurs fail, because it's too hard. And that's why it's the most important thing is your faith and your belief, because consciousness shapes our reality.
Yeah.
We knew through a famous double slit experience that as we observe matter, the matter changes. It's no different. Love is the most powerful antioxidant, and that's why it's been studied at length. When you pray over certain cells, they're healthier. When you pray over your food, it's healthier.
Wow.
When you have the affirmation of positivity in your mind, that's what you create in the body. You can give somebody the most perfect nutrition, but if they do not believe they are healthy, they will not be. The same people that are sick and the same people that are healthy have the same germs. It's the people that believe something's wrong that manifest it in their body.
A lot to unpack there. I will say the fear part, it's reminding me, I read the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, how 99% of the world is controlled by fear, the devil, and it's just like ever since then I've chased. If I fear something, I go and do it. Like that's typically my mind tricking me.
The only way out is the way through. You don't avoid, and you have to go through it.
Yeah, and to add to that, like just one prayer is so powerful. It's changed my life. I've seen it change many lives. I've never gone to consider what exactly is happening there cellularly, and just the for the audience, like what to utilize this product, and just overall, like what are your top 5 books to really get yourself educated in this?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a book specifically on this. There's one. Our chief scientific officer wrote a not a Nobel Prize, a New York Times bestselling officer, and he defected from Big Pharma. Our founders that create our supplements, these guys were famous drug discovery scientists. Like a lot of big drugs that people use, the most frequently used drug in the world, the guy who invented it left and started this company. So that's called The Aging Myth by Joe Chang. That'll give you information that most experts don't even know.
Wow.
But to get a comprehensive view of the state of health in regards to nutrition, I would read Metabolical, like Diabolical, by Robert Lustig, Lustig. To tie in consciousness, I would read The End of Upside Down Thinking by Mark Gober, who documented every single Sigma 6, Sigma 5 study, which is the highest level of scientific research, reproducible studies that can be done. They're classified.
Wow.
So studies from the US government, from other governments on consciousness, on telepathy, on all these things that people dying in the operating room and coming back and telling everyone everything that happened in the room because they observed it and then came back into their body. All of that is extremely well documented, and that's why it's the end of upside down thinking, is it shows how consciousness shapes your reality. So I would read those 3 books. You don't even have to go into 5. Like I would read a leadership book after that, and the one that I would say is the workbook for the greatest salesman, which is Ogmandino, which is a faith-based book, and the scrolls that it reads are affirmations and prayer about abundance and how to be a good leader and what manifestation really is. And that's every scroll is read for like 6 weeks, and you read it 3 times a day. Those are and like the 5 levels of leadership. That you need to know how to be a good leader, whether you're leading your family. It's not saying that the woman isn't a good leader, but as a man, or as the paternal figure in your family, regardless of your gender, you are being a leader in saying, your partner says, I'm hungry. How about Chinese? That's leading. She's leading me with there's a problem, I'm providing a solution. But a good relationship is like having a good dance partner. Sometimes they need to lead. And those are the 5 books. Metabolical, Robert Lustig; Ogmandino, The Greatest Salesman; the workbook, so you get the affirmations. Metabolical by Robert Lustig, and The End of Upside Down Thinking by Mark Gober, and The Aging Myth by Joe Chang.
That's going to be a clip. Going back into, and I just want to just really, really just get, what is that AI knowledge in your brain where it comes to content? Like, specifically, right, you're doing research for your content and making sure like that research, like walk me through your process there.
Yeah, it's more market research, because the products that I'm sharing or the topics I'm talking about are not well known. So it's an educational standpoint, and that's the beauty in our business, is a foundational product solves most people's problems because they're deficient in 6 categories. And that's all nutrition is 6 things. It's protein, fat, fiber. Those three things are pretty easy to get. There's only 20 amino acids, and it does not matter if you get it from fruits or plants or meat from animals. All those studies, if you really look at the studies, all those studies shut off after a day or after 24 hours, but you never just eat once. So the protein absorption literally levels out once you get outside of 72 hours. There's no difference. And there's entire cultures in Asia and India that have lived this way for thousands of years.
Right.
So the other three categories are very difficult to get in the modern world. And those are vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Any of these six categories, you cannot say one is more important than the other. It's an ecosystem. If I removed one plant or one animal out of an ecosystem, that entire ecosystem will change. So that's why it's important to understand it's not about the macros, bro. It's about the micros too. And no one knows what antioxidants are. It's why I went back to school. And they are a language. It's just like AI. No one knew what it was. No, people are still don't really understand the power of how this will shape the world for the next 3, 5, 50 years.
I guess you would. I just filmed a podcast yesterday. We talked about AI literacy. In your sense, health literacy.
Yes. So antioxidants, no one knew what they were. It's like hieroglyphics. 160 years ago, we didn't know that hieroglyphics was a language.
Yeah.
Napoleon discovered the Rosetta Stone, which was a giant tablet of stone that had alphabets etched into it that translated Latin, Greek, and hieroglyphics. We're like, oh my gosh, this stuff is not just beautiful art on the inside of pyramids and walls, it's in language. One of the oldest languages. That's how antioxidants are. It's only 100 years ago that they were really pinned down. And this is what Big Pharma doesn't want you to know, and most people don't know, is most of your drugs are developed from antioxidants. Period. Dot the end. You cannot patent a natural thing. So you have a synthetic version that is a manipulated chemistry that has the side effects because the natural compound was more effective and didn't have the side effects. That's what our company's doing. We're standardizing, taking a pharmaceutical approach to nutrition and extracting the natural compounds. But I say that because the antioxidants, they're not just fuel. They become part of the cell membrane. They're instructions for your DNA. We're tuning the instrument of your genes by what you participate with, by what you choose to put into your body. And most people don't know that modern farming, even if you're eating organic or regenerative farm or shopping at the farmer's market, it's still heavily depleted of its micronutrients, the minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants. So like everyone harps on magnesium, right? Get your magnesium, it's great. Most people don't even know you have a magnesium burn rate. Everyone should take 10 milligrams per kilogram of body weight as a standard. If you're under high stress like breastfeeding or pregnancy or hard training athlete, you need about 20 milligrams per kilogram of body weight divided throughout the day, 3 doses. But I say that because it's fascinating, but every mineral has a counterbalance. Magnesium and calcium balance each other. Copper and zinc balance each other. Sodium and potassium balance each other. No one talks about potassium. Everyone talks about magnesium. Potassium is the #1 mineral deficiency in the world. Period. Antioxidants are massively deficient, and there's only a couple dozen minerals that the body needs. There's only 20 amino acids in protein. There are hundreds of thousands of different types of antioxidants, and they all do different things. The different colors in different fruits, like blue in blueberries. Everyone says, eat your blueberries, they're high in antioxidants, amazing. Well, the subcategory of antioxidant is called an anthocyanin. And that's what makes it blue. And that's the color that God designed to tell us to eat that fruit to give us the nutrients that it has, because it doesn't contain just one nutrient. It doesn't contain just all these different antioxidants. It contains some minerals and vitamins too, and the fiber from eating it.
Wow.
But I say that because that same category of antioxidant is species, just like a different species of fish or monkey, right? Or all the different races of humans. We're technically different species, but we're all human. Well, all these anthocyanins that make things blue or red, like red cabbage or purple potato, those different anthocyanins do different things. They all have different, just like drugs, have different mechanisms of action at the cell level. So no one is a specialist in the world except for us, because we're studying all of them and saying which ones can we actually source from real food, extract, standardize, and stabilize so they actually still work, and we can measure it and show you that you're getting what you need.
You know, the part of that for marketing, what I'd imagine is like just the education portion.
Yeah.
Like having to research exactly. I don't know if you're doing this, but have AI like research exactly like what it's all these articles, what's gaining traction, and then based on that, educating off of the back of that.
Yeah.
Is that a similar process that you have, or
that's the power of measurement. That's what makes the whole system work, because a lot of people talk about antioxidants and they claim to have very high antioxidants. Put your money where your mouth's at.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, like one of the most popular green drinks that's heavily promoted on every podcast claims to have the highest antioxidant level, one of the highest antioxidant levels in the world. And that's called an ORAC value, is the metric they're using. Doesn't mean anything. That ORAC value is measuring antioxidants in a test tube, not in living tissue. Just because something works in a test tube does not mean it works in your body.
Yeah. I'm really trying to figure out, how are you using AI with your content? Like how are you using it to strategize? Like break down that system.
Finding pain points in education. When I'm not a consumer, I'm a creator. So I'll look at other prominent health influencers pages and save certain posts. I was like, that's a really good point they brought up, but they're missing this component of it. I can do it better with the use of AI and the knowledge base I have from this company.
There you go. Now that people can use.
Yeah.
They just need to build that knowledge base of their expertise. And based on their expertise, whatever they find that's already working, carousel, videos.
It's always going to change. The algorithm's always going to change. The point is, make some files on your social media, save some content in categories. Even if it's just one category of future content. Because then I have so much future content that I have saved, and I know when I look at it, I was like, oh yeah, here's this cool thing that this person was talking about it, but they missed these points. My brain instantly goes there, it's analytical. So that's the getting off of the consuming social media and just scrolling to find content. And if you need to make another page to do that, only follow the pages you get inspired from.
So for example, me right now, I'm trying to grow my personal brand, trying to grow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, among those platforms, right? Like, me being selfishly asking, like, how, based on what what you're doing, how could I utilize AI and just everything in order to grow my page?
Yeah, I mean, people told me this a lot, like, oh, niche down. Like, no, it's health. It's all health topics. And that's the point, is I want to cut through the BS, because you don't need niche down. Everyone needs foundational nutrition. I can bring in these components that all these other people are trying to sell a product on or a teaching point on, but let's tie it all in. So how do you add value to your viewers and give them an actionable thing? So there's a formula of what's the hook, what's the problem, and then what's the solution.
Right.
Yeah. So figuring out what you're offering, whatever that is, like what's your goal, reverse engineer it from there, and then find the content that inspires you and mimic it in your flavor. Copying is the biggest compliment ever. And my first viral thing, I did a remix where I just had my head in the thing and I was pointing. I was like, this is good information. And then I talked about it afterwards. That was the first thing that went viral on my account ever years ago.
You know what I'd imagine? I'm gonna go through your page, go through exactly everything you've made, and get some inspiration, and look at exactly what worked. And it probably something that worked back then, maybe or may not work now, but that's the principle at the very. What would you say that principle right there? You mentioned it in the start.
The principle for
growing your social media account, not just for followers, but actually having business come out of it.
Yeah, I mean, leading with authenticity. Like, you're really trying to solve a problem and help people understand something more, like whatever your business is. And that's what it is that I led with the passion for education, but also I think education is pointless unless we provide access to something that we're teaching about, like what's a tool they can use.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's very insightful. Well, Ryan, for the founder who's grinding 16 hours a day, ignoring their health to build their business, what is one metric they should measure this week that will tell them if they're running on fumes?
I mean, put your finger on my device. We'll tell you that's the best metric you could ever have. I mean, it's not going to replace sleep. It's not going to tell you to love yourself more. Those are the biggest things, and that's the discipline. You know, I in updating my transfer to Claude from ChatGPT, I had put some of my health on the back burner, my movement practice. And even just 20 minutes a day, even if it's just mobility, it doesn't have to be a hardcore workout, just focusing and turning my brain off and focusing on my body for 20 minutes a day, it's been the biggest game changer because it allows me to put my phone down. I normally do it outside, so to be outside and have sun on my skin, and to ground, to be barefoot and move. So take care of your health, no matter what, even if you're grinding 16 hours a day. I get it. You know, I had the dad bod come on and stuff from a former semi-pro athlete, and when I conceived, we were the most ripped and jacked I've ever been in my life in my 40s, you know? And that's my big lesson is I want to be able to keep up with her. And I can, but I noticed that when I really let it slip and I was grinding and operating more out of fear instead of faith, then my body hurt more because I wasn't nourishing it. I wasn't disciplined with my health.
Where can people find you, and where can they get scanned? And where can they find the Prism?
Well, you can buy your own Prism, so just reach out and I'll get you one. They're only $300. On Instagram, I'm _holistic_hub. On Facebook, it's holistic_hub. You can email me at ryan@my-holistic-hub.com. Don't ask me why I have hyphens in there. I just do. But reach out. Doesn't cost any money to have a conversation about your health and answer some questions. We have all kinds of ways to connect. If you're in Austin, I'll meet up with you and measure you and have a fun conversation. There's a couple places I can point you to in Austin that have one. A lot more coming on board. There's not a lot of these out there yet, but that's about to change.
Do you have any virtual gifts that like people can just get it right into it, like anything of that sort?
Yeah, stay tuned. We're hosting our own retreat, health sovereignty retreat in Guatemala on the summer solstice, and I previously had some assets like that, but I'm retooling them and doing them in a far more comprehensive way that is easier and not so much in the weeds. So that's actively what I'm working on. Stay tuned. That will actually be a huge part of the platform that I'm building with AI right now that integrates everything that I'm doing. So to make a couple pillars of your health simple, accessible, clinically validated, and how do you avoid toxins? How do you improve your nutrition? How do you move your body? You know, how do you have non-toxic cleaning supplies? How do you filter your water? All those things need to be simple and accessible.
Ryan, I have enjoyed this conversation tremendously. Not only just going in depth into health, but also just really getting some insights on both ends with AI. It's a pleasure to have you here. And to everyone listening, your health is your operating system. So if it's running slow, nothing else works. So go check out Ryan at Holistic Hub, or is that the?
Yeah.
Yeah, Holistic Hub and Wellpath 360. And if you want to learn how to use AI to scale your team and your business, head over to masterminds.aiforteams.io. The link is in the description, and we'll see you next time on AI for Teams.